My dear IGCSE students, hi everyone. Again, as always, I wish you the best. We are continuing and solving past papers. We are in paper 4 today to cover some ideas you must be familiar with. So I did choose today to start solving paper 4 variant 2 October November 2019. So I will do this in more than one lesson, more than one video to avoid the long sessions or long videos. Okay, let's start. Question number 1, it's about numbers. Question number 1 saying Muhsin has 600 pear trees and 720 apple trees on his farm. Write the ratio pear trees and 2 apple trees in simplest form. This is straightforward one, 600 to 720, simplify. Of course, you can do this in steps, dividing. Some of you you don't need to know 12 directly. You divide by 2, you divide by 6. What's faster to you or what's simpler to you, you do. But dividing by 12, 5 to 6 is the ratio in simplest form. Part 2, each apple tree produces 16 boxes of apples each year. One box contains 18 kilograms of apples. Calculate the total mass of apples by the 720 trees in 1 year. Write your answer or give your answer in standard form. So the total mass in 1 year, we have 720 trees, each tree 16 boxes, so you multiply. Each box has or contains 18 kilograms. Multiply them, you'll get 207,360. This is standard form. It's easy to all of us, of course. You move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to reach one digit, one whole digit, getting the answer. Part B, 1 week the total mass of pears picked was 18,540 kilograms. For this week, the ratio of mass of apples to mass of pears is 13 to 9. Find the total mass or find the mass of apples picked that week. Straightforward even in this part. So apples to pears 13 to 9. He wants the mass of apples, where the mass of pears is 18,540. By cross multiply, you get the mass of apples. Part 2 in part B, the apples cost Mohsen 0.185 per kilogram of produced dollars. He sells them at a profit of 60%. Where are the selling price per kilogram of the apples? First, you write the profit percentage. Since the profit is 60%, he sold it in 60% profit. We added to the original one, which is 100%. So the selling profit is 160%. You just multiply this by the cost price. You get the answer $1.36. Part C. Part C says Mohsen exports some of his pears to a shop in Belgium. The shop buys the pears at $1.5 per kilogram. Then the shop sells the pears for 2.3 euros per kilogram. The exchange rate, each $1 is 0.92 euros. Calculate the percentage profit per kilogram made by the shop. Straightforward the question, but we have to make sure that this is dollars, this is euros. So you give me the rate here to convert, to exchange between the units. So you are free to convert everything in euros or in dollars. I choose to do in dollars. So 2.3 euros. How many dollars? 2.5. How do you know? If you don't know to divide or multiply directly, do this step, dear students. Do this step in details. Put dollars, euros, each dollar 0.92. 2.3, how many dollars? Cross multiply. So X will be dividing 2.3 by 0.92, getting. So the selling price in dollars is $2.5 per kilogram. He wants the percentage profit is equal to selling in price minus buying price, or new minus old over the buying price, times 100%. Only that you will do 2.5 minus 1.5 dividing by 2.5 will be getting in the calculator 2/3 of 100%, 66.7%. The last part of this question, Mohsen's earnings increase exponentially at a rate of 8.7% each year. During 2018, he earned 100,095,600. During 2027, how much more does he earn than during 2018? More. So what do you have to do in this step or in this part? So in 2018, he earned 195,600. We calculate now how many dollars will he earn in 9 years, from 27 to 18. It's 9 years. So since he said increase exponentially, so we use the formula, which is the money that he had in the first year times 1 plus the increased percentage to the power of number of years. We are familiar, very familiar with these questions. We calculate this in the calculator, we will get 414,000 and 414.3. Since he said how much more, so he has this at the end of, or after 9 years, or in 2027, we subtract the year that the money that he starts with, getting the answer. Question 2, it's in statistics, cumulative frequency curve. This question is about cumulative frequency diagram. Show the information about the time taken for a group of girls to each solve a maths problem. And we are very familiar, my dear students, with these questions, but we are doing them to remind you, using the cumulative frequency diagram. Estimate the median. There are 80 girls. We read the graph from here, 80, so the total is 80. The median time, of course, all of the values are in time here. This is the axis of time here. So the median is the opposite value to 50%, or we call it Q2, second quartile. So the half or 50% of 80 is 40. You do by a ruler to the curve, then you go down. So this is the median. From 50 to 60 is 10. Each one we have 5 units. Each unit is 2. So this is 52 here. This is 54. The interquartile range IQR is equal to upper quartile minus lower quartile. Upper quartile, or the Q3, is the 75%, or 3/4 of the total. So 70% of the total, which is 80, is 60. You do the same by a ruler. Look here, aim this in the middle between 64 and 66. So the upper quartile is 65. Lower quartile, or the first quartile, which is quarter of the total, which is 25%, which is 20. Fourth or quarter of 80 is 20. Opposite to the 20, which is Q1, which is 36. 1, 2, 3, 36. We just subtract upper quartile minus lower quartile. So IQR is equal to 29. 29. Next part, the 20th percentile. 20th percentile. So you come here, calculate the 20% of 80. Opposite value here. Here is the 20th percentile, which is 32. It's 1 unit after 30, so it is 32. Part B, use the community frequency diagram to complete the frequency table. From 0 to 20, he gives you 6, and it's obvious 6. From 0 to 20, look here, this is the way that we read the graph. 0 to 20, this is the value here, which is 6. From here, he wrote this value. From 20 to 40, you go to 40 here, move from 40, you will get what? By a ruler, if you don't see it well, which is here, which is 24. So 24 minus 6 from 20 to 40. 24 minus 6, which is 18. The same for the next one, 40 to 60. 40 to 60. 40 is 24. Look at 60, move to 60 here, is 50 exactly. So 50 minus 24, 50 minus 24 is 26. From 80, I wrote them to you here to help you how you get the answers. When you do study alone, you'll remember how you got these answers or these values. 60 to 80, the opposite value of 80 is 76 minus 50, which is this one, which is 26 again. To make sure that these values are right, dear students, we add them. You must get 80. And when you add them, they are 80. After this, he asks us to calculate the mean for part 2 and part B. Calculate and estimate the mean time. So you are given this as classes. To find or estimate the mean, what must we do? We find the class mid, the midpoint of each class. 0 plus 20 over 2 is 10. 20 plus 40 is 60, dividing by 2 is 30. 100 divided by 2 is 50. 60, 80, 140 dividing by 2 is 70. 180 dividing by 2 was 90. Then we write the rule or the formula to find the mean, which is the mid class times the frequency plus the mid or the class mid times the opposite frequency to the end. Use the calculator, dividing and multiplying each values here, then divide the total by the total or the sum frequency, getting 51. Part C, a group of boys solved the same problem. The boys had the median of 60 seconds, lower quartile for 46 seconds, and the upper quartile for 66 seconds. Write down the percentage of boys with a time of 66 seconds or less. So look here, the same problem. So less than 66 is almost 60 or less. So you go to 65 here, 60. So they are 60. dividing by 80, you will get 75%. The last part for this question, Howard says the boys' times vary more than the girls' times. Explain why Howard is incorrect. We only know we can do this question in many ways in advanced statistics, but here we use the interquartile range IQR for both. So you'll notice that when you calculate interquartile range for girls that we did in the part here, it was 29. For boys, it's 20 because the upper quartile is 66, lower quartile is 46, so the interquartile range is 20. So 29, Q3 minus Q1 varies more. The times for girls varies more than the times, or the boys' times. The boys' times. So why is incorrect? Since the value of IQR interquartile range for girls is more than the interquartile range for boys. Fine. Question 3. Question 3, we have to focus with it. It's easy question, but sometimes they ask the question in like different way. We'll be doing 4 questions for this, as we agreed on to not make the video like long or boring. So we'll continue the rest of the questions in the paper, other papers in the next videos. Question 3 says, a line joins the points A, 1, 3 to B with coordinates 5, 8. Find the midpoint of AB. We know that the midpoint is the sum of the x coordinates in the sum of y coordinates. Then we add only 1 and 5, 3 plus 8 dividing by 2, getting the values or the coordinates of the midpoint. Second part, find the equation of the line AB. Give your answer as y equals mx plus c. We did many questions like this with my specific students, and it will be useful for anyone who will be watching this video. So only in this idea and these questions, we find the two values of m and c. M, which is the gradient. We use the formula of the gradient, which is y2 minus y1, y2 minus y1, which is 8 minus 3 over x2 minus x1, which is 5 minus 1, so it's 5 over 4. So you write the equation with y equals 5 over 4x plus c. Now, if you find c, so we find the equation of the line. How do you find the y-intercept? We call c the y-intercept. So we'll do other online geometry. This is the geometry of line, different questions in different papers. We substitute we replace any of the 2 points he gives us in the question in the line. So I did choose 1, 3. So you replace only y by 3 and x by 1. 3 minus 5 over 4, which is 7 over 4, which is the value of c. So the equation of the line is y equals 5 over 4x plus 7 over 4. And remember, leave these is better in this. Don't write these values in decimals. Leave them as fraction form. Alright. The line AB is transformed to the line PQ. So we are now in transformations. Part B is talking about or asking us about transformations. I did all the parts in part B on the last 2 pages on a grid paper, as I'll show you now. Find the coordinates of P and the coordinates of Q after AB is transformed. So the first type of transformation is translation. Translation by the vector 5, -2. We did this idea in paper 2. Paper 2, it was a problem. I remember now to tell you with the voice. I may do paper 2 again. It was not clear, or I don't know the voice where it's gone, to be honest. Anyway, I will do the previous video again. 1, 3 by the vector 5, -2. This is the translation vector. Remember, this is the value of x, this is the value of y, so this is positive, so we add x, we move to the right. We move to the right, we add 5. This is the value of y, so we go down 2 units. Or we minus 2 from y. So only that we do here. We add 5 to the x coordinate. We minus 2 from the y coordinate, getting P. Said AB to PQ. So A will be transformed to P, and B will be transformed to Q. It's the idea in these questions. So the coordinates of P is 6, 1, and the same 5, 8. 5, the x coordinate will be adding 5, which is 10. The y coordinate is 8. 8 minus 2, which is 6. And this will be more clear now after I finished. I wrote this here, but just to help students, they are struggling or they don't understand this. I did this on a different, detailed way at the last 2 pages. Part 2 and part B, a rotation. He did AB, he did rotate the 2 points, a rotation through 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin. Rotation anti-clockwise about the origin. Rotation 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin. When we rotate, what will happen, dear students? The x will be y and the y will be x. I say this, yes, like or verbally, but I explained it here as I told you. So let's move to page 10. Look what happens here. Just follow the coordinates here. I wrote everything in details to you. This is question 3, part B here, part I. Look what happened. This is A1, 3. Look at the coordinates. They are clear. And the coordinates of B is 5, 8. When we do translation, just we move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we do, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This translation, then we go 2 units down. So this is P. And we did the same. Let me use different color for B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. Then 2 units down. This is the coordinates of Q. Part 2, rotation. When we do rotation, what do you mean by rotation? I'll show you this in easy way. When we do rotate anti-clockwise, this will happen. The angle between them is 90 degrees when you rotate. 90 degrees. This will happen. The angle is 90 degrees. Do you see it? So what happens here? What will happen about the origin? I'll just erase this. The origin, this is the origin, the 0, which is here. So the y coordinate will be x, the y will be x, and the x will be y. And since we did anti-clockwise, So the x coordinate will be negative, as you see here in P. So when you do rotate 1, 3 anti-clockwise 90 degrees, it will be negative 3, 1, and the same for 5, 8. It will be, of course, this if you don't have tracing paper to understand it. What really happened here in geometry, yeah, if you would like to go deep with this is what happens. In blue color, this is about the origin. This is 1, 3. Do you see it? It is now, look, this is what happened. The angle between them is 90 degrees in translation, in rotation. So this was 1, 3. I'm revised because we cannot write, so now, and this is 3, 1 now. This is what happened. Look. The same with 5, 8. When you count 1, 2, 3, 5, I'll show you again. 5 units here, 8 units here. So the 8 units on Y, they will be X units. Look, from the origin. From the origin. 8. I will just centralize this well. It took time with me to, yes, this is, yeah. Let me just to make it clear. I'll be centralized only the axes as they were. Yes. So this was 3, this was 1. It is now the Y dimension will be X, and the X, it's Y now. This is the meaning by rotation. And the angle between them is 90 degrees. 90 degrees. We can't write, because of that I am moving between the grid paper. We can't write on the grid paper. This is the property of this page. We can't write on. Alright. So everything is clear by the coordinates here. It will be helping you. Third part, a reflection. Will be reflecting A and B in the line, the mirror line, x equals 2. X equals 2. Back to page 10 again. This is the line x equals 2. This is the part we are in. You see it? This is part 3. So this is A, which is 1, 3 here. X equals 2, so the distance between, this is the meaning of mirror line and reflection. The distance between 1 and 2 is 1. So it must be 1 here. So we just add 2 to 1 to get 3. It's the idea and the reflection. So P is 3, 3. The same with B. B is 5, 8. Yes, 5, 8. So I'll be writing here because remember, again I'm telling you, we cannot write on the page with the grid. This is the characteristic of this page or this program. This is 2 here. X equals 2, so this is 2 here. So the distance between 5 and 2 is 3. So you move to the left from 2, 3 units. The same. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. See it on the grid? So B will be transformed in the reflection or by reflection in the line x equals 2. It's negative 1, 8. And pay attention here that the y coordinate was not affected, didn't change. Opposite of reflecting in y equals. So the x coordinate will be here affected by the mirror line x equals 2. When you look at it, you'll see it simply. Back to the question to see the next part. Transformation by the matrix. It's about transformations of matrices. This is cancelled from the syllabus. This is not in the syllabus, not in our syllabus, not in our new syllabus. Part C, the last one, describe fully, the question says. Describe fully the singular transformation that maps the line AB onto the line PQ, where P is the point -2, -6, and the point Q is -10, -16. It's easy, supposed to be easy for most of us as extended students, but we said as usually that sometimes we take time to help the majority of the students. They don't like this topic so much. So I did explain this on page 11. Page 11, which is the last page. Look, this is what happened here. So this is A, which is 1, 3. This is B, which is 5, 8, as shown. What happened here? So I did draw this as triangle to show you what's happening. So between 1, 3 and 5, 8, we can draw a triangle to show you what happened here. When you transform A to P, he told me. So what did I do? Only we do this in the exam even. It's easy to do. Just plot the coordinates of the point P here like I did, and the point Q -10, -16 to the grid to scale exactly. So you notice that the distance between, or the units, there are 4 units. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have 1, the length of this 2, 3, 4, 5. You see this side, now it's this side. When you count the units, you see them, they are 10 units. And when you count these, they are 8 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you know that the new shape, the transformed shape, it's twice. It's double the original one. But what happened here, dear students? The shape is flipped. So we are sure now, number 1, the first mark the examiner will give us for the name of the transformation, which is enlargement. We did enlarge because we changed the size. It's the only transformation that changes the size, smaller or larger. So here we doubled each dimension, each length of this shape. It's twice or double. So you must write 2, the scale factor in the language of enlargement, 2. But since the point or the center of enlargement is between the 2 shapes, the shape will be flipped like you are seeing, obviously. So if this happens, what do you do, right? We write, dear students, the name, 1 mark for the name, enlargement. The center is the origin. How do you know in the origin? When you match by a ruler, just match by a ruler between the transform. This is A, this is P. By a ruler, match between each 2 corresponding points. All of the lines will be intersecting in the origin. So the center or the point of enlargement is the origin, and the scale factor is -2. -2. Since the shape is flipped, we flip the shape. Communicate with me if you need help more with transformations. We can use or solve transformations on other papers to help you more with this topic. The last question for today, it's combined problem, to be honest, mensuration, geometry with trigonometry. It's not that hard, but it's one of the most important problems in paper 4 problems. In the first part, in this question, you are given a hemisphere, drawn to you, hemisphere with radius 6 centimeters. He wants the volume, the straightforward one, and you are given the formula. Remember, we don't need to memorize the formula of the sphere as extended students. So, since it's hemisphere, it's half of the sphere. So the volume of hemisphere is half the volume of the sphere. So just we multiply the formula of the volume of the sphere times half, getting the answer centimeter cubed, because it's volume. Alright, let's focus with part B. Part B, you are given a prism. Diagram shows a prism A, B, C, D, E, F. The cross section, which is the base, of the prism, is a right-angled triangle. So this is triangular prism. Where BD is 10 centimeters, BC is 5.2 centimeter, ED is 18 centimeters. Work out the volume of the prism. To find the volume of the prism, dear students, this must be understood and memorized well. It's one of the most important topics in the IGCSE syllabus. So what's the volume of the prism? The volume of the prism is the area of the base or the section, cross section, times the length of the prism. The length is given is 18, ED. The length of the prism is ED. To find the area of the triangle or the base, which is the triangle, we must find its base. He said BCD, which is this one, or this one, of course, we can choose any one. This is the base, this is the height. So you must find the base. I am given this is 10, I am given this is 5.2, using Pythagoras DC squared, writing this in details, 6 marks, so it's better to write in details to help yourself even to do this part and the next parts. So DC squared 5.2 squared equals to 10 squared by Pythagoras theorem. So DC is equal to the square root of 10 squared minus, because BD is the hypotenuse in this triangle. So 10 squared minus 5.2, you'll be getting DC, which is what? The base of the triangle. 8.54 centimeter. Now we write the formula of the volume of the prism, which is the area of the base, area of the triangle, BCD, for the cross section, times the length of the prism. So half times 8.54, which is the base, times the height, which is given in the question, times the length, getting the answer. Simple like this. Just to remove, because will help you in the next parts. When I did draw on the shape here, this shading, Yes. For the next parts, we need space for the next parts. Many students were requesting to discuss this. Part B. Calculate the angle BEC. The most important thing in this question is to label. What does the question want? Label the angle. Where's the angle BEC? In blue. I did it in blue here. This is the angle. I can't see the angle BEC. Why? So what we have to do, because B is the top, is the vertex on the top of this prism, and FCDE is the plane of the base. So to clarify, to show, to label the angle, we draw the diagonal of the base, which is CE, as I did in the blue, in blue color. So BEC is the angle in the triangle BEC. I did write everything in details here. So to find the angle BEC, we have to draw the lines BE and CE, as shown in blue, as I wrote to you. To form a triangle, or the triangle BEC, that is right at C. It is right at C. So this as well is right angle triangle, BCE. BCE. This is a triangle, dear students. I'll do it here for you. So this is E, this is C, this is B. Only we know one side, and he wants a known angle. No one can solve this triangle unless we need, or we must be given, or we must find another side or another angle. This angle we don't know it, angle B we don't know it, but we are able to find one side, which is CE. Why? Because CE is the diagonal of the base, is the diagonal of the rectangle FCDE. Using Pythagoras again, look at the shape well. CE is the hypotenuse of the triangle CDE. CDE. So CE squared is equal to ED squared plus DC squared. So CE is equal to Pythagoras again, 19.9 centimeters. So now we have sufficient information. I wish that all of the students are here, especially my students, watched all the videos in trigonometry, because this is well explained in the parts of trigonometry from part 1 to part 9. So watch them. If you don't watch them or forgot something, watch them again. They are so helpful and useful. So now in the BCE we have 5.2, we have 19. This is opposite to the angle, this is adjacent, so we can use the tan using trigonometry. So the angle E that he wants, or the angle BEC, it's tan inverse. How do you do tan inverse? By pressing shift tan 5.2 over 19.9. You'll get the angle. You will get the angle. Read this, try the information again at home, and if you still need help again, you can communicate, and I will not mind helping you. The last part is saying the point G lies on the line ED. Don't read these parts without labeling and drawing, dear students. And GD is 7. GD is 7 centimeter. Work out the angle BGE. BGE. So the question said there is point G here, like I did draw to you here, that GD is 7 centimeters. So GE is 11 centimeters. This is He wants the angle here that I did label to you. This is the angle BGE. We have to pay attention here that the trick in this question, that the triangle BDG, this one, I will do this, then I will erase it just to show it to you. Do you see it? Is right angle triangle. BDG is right angle triangle because this is a prism and the faces, the sides of the prism are always rectangles. And watch, this is well explained also in mensuration on my channel and my video, my lessons. So watch them again. So to find the angle BGE, we have to find the angle BGD first, which is the adjacent, supplementary to the angle on a straight. Look at it. This angle and this angle, they form straight. So if you find this, then you can find the angle that he wants. Why easy to find this angle, dear students? Because the triangle BDG or BGD is a right angle triangle. BDG is a right at D. Right at D. So the angle BGD, which is this one, we can find it by the same. This is opposite. This is adjacent to the angle. So you can find this angle, which is BGD, and train yourself to read the angle and label and draw it with 3 letters. Don't say angle G. You'll not be helping yourself in this way. Or angle D. Because sometimes the angle, like happens in this question, this is a vertex of many angles here. So you are finding BGD, which is this one in black, this one. Then I find in blue the one that I want. So BGD, by calculating shift tan 10/7 is 55 degrees. Since BGE, I will explain this to you here. This is what happens. So this is E here in the shape. So I'll be drawing it to you here. This is E here. This is G. This is D. This is that we did. And this is B. To help you, this is B. This is right angle. This was 10. This is given 7. We want this angle. This is that one they want. So what did we do, dear students? Only you found this one by tan inverse 10/7, which is 55. Since the angle that we want and this angle are adjacent, or they form straight, so they add up to 180 degrees. So the last step that I do, the angle that he wants, BGE, it's 180 minus 55, which is almost 125 degrees. Look, paper 4 is different from paper 2, so you have to remember many skills, many topics. So you must be studying well and preparing well to be prepared to do the tasks now, the homework, to help you with the school reports. You must understand these topics well. I wish I did explain this as simple as I could, and as always I wish you the best. Tomorrow we'll continue with this paper, inshallah, and after this we'll be solving different questions with different past papers.